Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Mixed Text and Politics. If you have not done so, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, get 20% off of all products in my Mixed Text and store. I'll post the link below, and you can check it out there. All right, let's get started here. Great story for you today. Make sure you watch this whole video because this is very important in the fight against the woke agenda. All right, Texas A&M University system bans diversity statements from job applications. This is fantastic news. Texas A&M University System Chancellor Sharp has directed leaders of its 11 universities and 8 agencies to stop asking job candidates for statements about their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion in their applications. Last month, Governor Greg Abbott's office sent a letter to public universities and state agencies saying that DEI hiring practices violated federal and state employment laws and barring them from hiring on factors other than merit, which is absolutely right. You should not hire anybody based on diversity. It should all be about their qualifications and how well they can do the job at hand. This is from the Chancellor of Texas A&M. No university or agency in the A&M system will admit any student nor hire any employee based on any factor other than merit. So we see them complying with Governor Greg Abbott, and we're also seeing other universities following suit. Check this out. University of Houston will no longer consider DEI statements factors in hiring process. The University of Houston on Friday announced that it will discontinue using diversity, equity, and inclusion statements or factors in hiring promoting employees. This is from the Chancellor of UH. In order to ensure compliance with state and federal law, we will not support or use DEI statements or factors in hiring or promotion anywhere in the University of Houston system. Now, like I said, this should never be a thing. You should not hire anybody based off of race or their sexual orientation. And we see this across the country in many companies. I don't know if you saw what happened with United Airlines, but they had this all LGBTQ flight crew. I mean, this is a huge problem because when you're putting race and diversity and all this nonsense above merit, it could be a cause for concern. You're going to teach students this woke ideology that's going to infect our country and destroy our nation completely. It's going to rip us apart and divide us even more than we already are. And when you hire people based on race and things like that, and sexual orientation, if you identify as one of the 55 genders, and versus how well you can do a job, it could be a cause for concern, it actually could cost lives in many cases. As we saw with Pete Buttigieg wanting to hire black and Hispanic construction workers based on the place where they live, saying that these white construction workers don't identify with these black people or Hispanic people living in the community. It does not matter to me if there's a white construction worker or a black construction worker in my neighborhood. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. All right, let's check this out from United Airlines. If you did not see this, United Airlines took to Twitter this week to proclaim that an all LGBTQ plus 123 crew had just completed a flight from San Francisco to Sydney. In a video inside the tweet showed 2 employees unveiling the image of a koala bear wearing a heart-shaped sunglasses, waving an enormous LGBTQ flag on the side of the aircraft. And this is how flyers responded to this nonsense. Somebody said, "Oh, thank God. Every time I fly, the only thing I worry about is who the crew members like to have sex with. As long as that's the focus of the airlines, I know I'm in good hands," sarcastically they said. Another replied, "I don't care how many boxes your crews check, but what I do care about is their qualifications. You made it clear that an all LGBTQ plus crew was your number one priority above safety and qualifications. I will never fly United Airlines again." Now we have some video here, showing this koala bear being unveiled. wonder what those two guys were thinking. The guys that painted that did the job, what were they thinking? Were they like, this is a stupid idea? Why am I painting a koala bear holding a gay pride flag on the side of his aircraft? This is nuts. Now, this is causing some problems in the airline industry. Like I said, this is very dangerous. And it's showing to be very dangerous. Let's check this out. Now, I do have some video for you in a minute and that I want you to watch. It's very important. But 2 years ago, United announced that 50% of the 5,000 pilots we will train in the next decade will be women or people of color. They went on to say our flight deck should reflect the diverse group of people on board our planes every day. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense because so you're trying to match the pilots and the crew with the people on the plane. That is completely irrelevant. I've been on planes with black people, white people, Hispanics, Asians, and I've seen flight crews that have a lot of white women as flight attendants, white men. Yeah, the white pilots. I've seen women pilots. To me, I don't care. I don't care if you are an alien flying that plane, which they can probably fly aircrafts better than we can. But if you're an alien, you know how to fly that plane, get me from point A to point B the safest way possible, I'm good. Now, a lot of people are scared to fly, but flying is actually the safest way to travel. There are very few, especially domestic travel in the U.S., very few accidents that happen because we have some of the best training in the world, in my opinion, and some of the best pilots. And I think these guys, the guys and ladies who do this are fantastic at what they do, and I admire them. I think they don't get enough credit for what they do because a lot of people are afraid of flying, and they do a tough job. They do a lot of training, and they deserve a lot of credit. So check this out from Tucker Carlson. This is a video that is a few minutes long. If you have time to watch, I'm going to play it, but it is very important. It's going to show how dangerous DEI training is in the hiring processes. Check this out.
Commercial air travel in the United States has long been the safest in the world. So safe you never think about it. When was the last time a big jet crashed in this country? What, October 2001? Decades ago. But like so much else, that began to change immediately after Joe Biden became president. Biden imposed the principles of equity on the airlines. And that meant dramatically lowering hiring standards for pilots and for air traffic controllers. And disgracefully, the airlines went along with it. Result? There have been several near disasters in aviation recently, with hundreds of lives at stake in each case. Last Wednesday, for example, a United flight was coming in for a landing at Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. The aircraft was low enough that passengers could clearly see the runway. Right before landing, a plane on the ground taxied out into the path of the United flight. The pilot aborted the landing so dramatically that people on board were terrified. It was another near miss at an American airport, though this one never made the news. What's happening here? We wanted to know what is going on in commercial aviation. Clearly something is. So we reached out to someone who's flown for the airlines for many years. The following account was written in December by a veteran United Airlines pilot. Under its woke CEO, Scott Kirby, United Airlines has allowed politics and racialist ideology to trump safety concerns. According to this pilot who works for Scott Kirby right now, those decisions have put the lives of passengers in grave danger. Quote, "Name redacted just told me about a B777 off Maui that almost crashed 2 nights ago. Both pilots became disoriented and pulled out of a dive 300 feet above the water, pulling 2.5 Gs. I'm just home from Denver Training Center. There's some real horror stories out there about United, but management is hell-bent on just ignoring what is going on. The investigation is still ongoing, but the captain of the Maui flight was brand new. There was a new hire first officer, and my understanding is that we almost lost an airplane for no good reason. Both have been sent back to go through the 4-week course. Wow. The new hire here on my fleet is a nightmare. It took him 50 hours to get through initial operating experience. Worse yet, talking to his instructor, out of his 25 landings in the simulator, 15 ended up in the dirt. Not one of them.
That's 60% that didn't make it.
Was on the center line of the runway. They said his radio work was like that of a private pilot. He has no situational awareness. I'm jump seating to SFO right now. A United B777 first officer is next to me. She said the training is totally inadequate for new hires. Her husband helps train them at United's in-house pilot academy, Aviate. He's constantly asking these kids who come in, has anyone told you what this is? Many have no idea what they're getting into. They're hiring people straight out of high school now, zero aviation knowledge or desire. It's just about the money and adhering to ESG, end quote. And it's not just United, it's everywhere. Southwest Airlines' in-house pilot training program, called Destination 225, has dramatically lowered its standards. Many of its graduates wind up working for a charter company called Swift Air, which is under contract from the Biden administration to fly illegal aliens around the country without the American population knowing about it. But other graduates wind up flying for Southwest Airlines. Last year, a newly hired first officer on a Southwest flight, formerly a flight attendant, hit the runway so hard on landing that a crew member was gravely injured. So this is what it looks like in real terms when you decide that identity is more important than aptitude in something critical like aviation. At some point, many people are going to die because of this. You should know that.
That is terrifying because I like to travel and we fly a lot. My wife and I, we fly pretty often. Whenever we do travel, most of the time it is by airline, air travel. And it's actually pretty scary. And I've seen a lot of people say this in comments of certain things, saying that they're no longer going to fly because, for one, these airlines have they had this vaccine mandate, and they're worried about pilots just dying in the middle of the flight, passing out, having a heart attack. But now you have this, which I think is just as dangerous. You have this diversity and equity inclusion training and hiring processes that are putting flights at risk, carrying hundreds of people. As you see, the planes almost crash because of this nonsense. And it's actually pretty terrifying because, like I said, I like to travel. I like to go to places across the United States and see the country and have a good time, make memories. But it's actually becoming concerning over this nonsense. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Hopefully they can change course very soon because, like I said, we're going to see a lot more dangerous situations like this happening. And we don't even hear about it in the media. We have to, from the mainstream media, besides Tucker, nobody else is really reporting on it. I mean, you have some Newsmax, I believe they do talk about it, but outside of that, you don't really hear about these stories, about this DEI training going on. It's actually pretty terrifying. So just stay vigilant. Be careful with this stuff. Be careful who you vote for because don't vote for politicians that are going to advance this nonsense. And we have to do maybe protests, write letters or emails to these people in these companies. Say keep politics and diversity out of this nonsense. I understand we don't want to discriminate against people, but you are discriminating when you want to hire only black people, only gay people. That's discriminating against other people. That's discriminating against white people. It's complete nonsense. It needs to stop. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.